Welcome back. I'm Chris Sikora, and I'll be stepping you through a review session of the final exam for the Solidworks Basics class. Now, first of all, just to note, my students, you cannot watch the video while you take the test. So if you're coming into class or even working online, you can watch it as many times as you like in advance to practice for it, but you can't actually watch it while you're taking the exam, just to make that known. All right, and what the exam looks like is basically right here. You can see this is what you're going to turn into me, a drawing with the front view, left, bottom, section view, detail view, exploded isometric view with the bill of materials. Make sure your name's on it. And it needs to be on an A-size sheet. Now be aware this A-size sheet here is broken up into 5 segments. You see at the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The latest SOLIDWORKS template for an A-size landscape is broken up into quadrants, so it's actually in fourths. So just be aware you're not going to get the exact same sheet. It's close enough though, and that's good enough. All right, but what I really want to make sure is that you know how to do everything inside. So you might actually have to scale your things down a little bit more than what's on this print. But let's begin. Let's talk about this. There's a, if you're wondering where all this is located, you just go to the VER, T as in Tom, A, N as in Nancy, U, X1.com. And over here on exams, you click on exams and you'll see the SOLIDWORKS Basics Final. You can click on that. That's the actual print or instructions. Now the part files, if you click on part files here, if you scroll down, you'll see the final exam right here in the red column. What you can do is click on that and download. And I'm using Chrome here, so I'm going to hit, actually after I downloaded it, mine appears down here in the lower left. Yours might be appearing up in the upper right. It depends on what browser you're using. Now you can see here there's these this collection of parts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab them all. I don't need the actual document. The document's just in the event that you don't have the document, or if I send a direct link to this file, and that's just a Word document you could open up, and it has the same instructions that you saw in the PDF that is on the access area. Now I'm going to right click, I'm going to cut those out, and I'm going to put them in my documents, SOLIDWORKS Basics, and create a new folder. And I'm going to call it Final and SOLIDWORKS Basics. I'm going to double click in there and then right click and paste. And these are what the files should look like. Now that means with we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. The bolt you're going to use twice, and so you're going to have to assemble those things. But you first have to build the clock bezel, which is the plastic housing for the bulk of the clock. And that's the only part you have to build in this. The rest of it is assembling it, exploding it, and then making a drawing. So let's begin. I'm just going to go back here to the document. And I actually have an order, which you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I rotated this, I downloaded it already, and then I clicked on the rotate button up here, which is in Google Chrome. Or actually, yeah, Google Chrome. All right, so at this point, we can see this is the part you're going to have to model. Now you can see that the part isn't really all that complex, but there's a circular pattern for the 12 digits. I also have some unorthodox duplicate dimensions. I've dimensioned here ordinate dimensions, and then on the left I have some just typical engineering dimensions. Some of those double up on each other, so just be aware. The reason I put in ordinate dimensions is because half of my program goes into manufacturing, and those are used quite often like for mold making and things like that. So I want to make sure that you know how to read ordinate dimensions and use them. And also this is just helpful in planning and or plotting out the depths of this clock. Okay, the overall diameter is 8 inches, and then there's a recess that's 7 inches in diameter, and it's cut 0.125 deep. Then there's another smaller 6.5 inch diameter, and then that's cut even deeper. The full amount is a 1/2 inch, but you have to subtract the 0.125 from that if you're going to build it on the floor of that first recess. So just be aware, it'll be 0.375. And then the back side of the clock, you could use these engineering dimensions. It's 1/4 inch depth cut on there, and then the post, I'm sorry, it's a 0.125 depth. And then also the posts, then the 4 posts that have to align with the clock, the chrono housing are in there, and that's on the back side here. You can see the dimensions for that too. So let's get started. I'm going to first start a new part file and hit OK. And I'm going to select the front plane. Now, if you remember the midterm, I selected the top plane. That's because a bottle sits on a tabletop. A clock like this sits on a wall. So that's why we're going with the front plane. Start a sketch. Draw the diameter, which is 8 inches. So we'll just sketch it out with a circle. Dimension it, type in 8. Now we could save a little extra time and draw in the hole in the center, which is only 1/2 inch. And then go to Features, Extrude Boss, and it's 0.75 deep. Hit the green check. Now here's the number one thing that's missed on this test. It's worth 20 points. This whole test is worth 30 points. But this one's worth 20 if you miss it. It's subtract from your grade. Go to Fillet, 0.25, and just make sure you put this fillet on this edge right here. Now you can select the face, start a sketch, draw on the next diameter. Remember, it just steps down to 7 inches. And Features, Extrude Cut, and it's 0.125 deep. Now you might be thinking, boy, he's going through this really quick. Just be aware this is a review session. This isn't a full lesson. All these things you should have learned in previous classes for the most part. There are a few new things I might show you. Okay, now I'm going to select this face right here, start a sketch, and draw out the diameter. And that goes to 6.5 inches. And then that gets cut. Now, if you remember on the ordinate dimensions, it showed 0.5 deep, but we're sketching it already below 0.125 depth. So you have to subtract that 0.125 from the 0.5, which gives you 0.375. So don't forget to get that proper depth. If you don't get that proper depth, later on it might cut a big hole in it, and then it's almost catastrophic if you can't figure out how to fix it. Okay, now I'm going to put in the digits. I'm going to select this face, start a sketch, and I'm going to go normal to, or actually I'll just go to front. I'm going to draw in a bolt circle. And when you draw that bolt circle, remember you could turn to for construction and then smart dimension it at 5 inches. And now we could put in at the 12 o'clock here a 0.375 diameter boss for the 12 o'clock digit. And then this just gets extruded 0.1. And that's basically, you'll see on the print, it's the height is 0.4, or I should say the depth off the front face. So you subtract that off of the base and you get 0.1. All right, so select this. And now we're going to go to circular pattern. Select the outer face. Make sure it's set to equal spacing, 360 degrees, and 12 instances. Hit the green check. Flip it around the back. You don't have to put the Oakton or any sort of name on there. Start a sketch at the origin. And this one is 7.5. And then just go to Features, Extrude Cut, and it's 0.125 deep. Hit the green check. And all right, so we cut that recess in there. Now we have to put the posts in. So select this face, start a sketch, and align it. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw in the center line, a vertical center line, and a horizontal center line. And these are to mirror. Extra line there I have to delete. Now I'm going to go ahead and select the circle tool and draw out this diameter. And the diameter for this is, I believe, 0.25, but let me verify that on the print. Yeah, 0.25, 4 places, offset 1 inch from center. Okay, so we can go ahead and select from here to here, 1 inch, from here to here, 1 inch. And now we're just going to mirror it across. So I'm going to click and drag a fence around that, hit the Mirror Entities button, click and drag a fence around that, hit the Mirror Entities button, Features, Extrude Boss Base, 0.25 for the height, hit enter twice, and there it is. All right, make sure you save that, and I'm going to go ahead and save it in that same folder for the final Solidworks Basics. I'm going to call this the clock bezel. All right, now we could go to File, Make Assembly from Part. And you could go ahead and just hit the green check and it will drop that in automatically. Now we could get the other part, so I could go to Insert Component and browse to that directory, and here they are. I'm going to enlarge the images so they're easier to see. Okay, the first thing we're looking for is the Chrono Housing. Select the Chrono Housing, open. You might get this message. It means that there's a font that's no longer inside your system, or that's not inside your system that I use. So just hit Use Temporary. Click over here to drop it, and that's the engraved text in the back. That's the font for that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and go to Mate. Select this face to the outer face. I see it went in backwards, so you have the flip mate alignment. Hit the green check. And now I'm going to go to the front view orientation. And the reason for this is I'm going to go to Hidden Lines Visible, and we can actually see the model. Those holes here and here are for the posts or the screws that will hold on the bracket. So those need to be facing up. So I just wanted them to face them up like that. And now I could drag it out. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Shaded with Edges. I'm going to go ahead and select this face to this face, hit apply, and then this face to that face. Now note, I could have just selected the edge and it would have captured both of those mates. But if the edges weren't exactly the same diameter, you might have an issue. In this case, you could select those edges and save the step. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and drop in the next part. So Insert Component, Browse, and the bracket. Open that up, drop that right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab this edge here and Alt and drag it over to that hole and release it. And so that's snapped on. Now remember, you could do the faces individually. You just have to zoom up really close. But here I'm just using some advanced tools. Now this is what an advanced user would probably use. So you can see here that one didn't align very well. So I'm going to grab the face and Alt, drag it over to snap that in. You could use just the mate tool though. Be aware, I'm using some more advanced tools. Go to Insert Component, Browse, and this time the bolt. Now just drop one in there, and we could use that little trick again. Hold Alt. Now it might pop it in upside down, so let's see. Oh, we got it to work. If it pops it up upside down, I don't know the fast key to flip it, or if there is. If you drag it from a split window, I know the Alt key or the Tab key will flip it upside down, but unfortunately the Tab key doesn't seem to work with this anymore because it's Windows functionality. But let's go ahead and get another one over here. So I'm going to hold Control, and after I hit Escape first, then hold Control, grab this and drag off a copy. Now I'm going to go ahead and drag that way up here, and now I could hold Alt, grab that surface, and get it right inside there. Now I could click on this edge here, release it, hold Alt, drag that. Oops, I missed it. I got the face. Alt and drag it to the surface so it's flush. And there we go. Now let's bring in the hour hand and minute hand. So Insert Component, Browse. We'll bring in the, let's see here, the hour hand first. And we could use those same tricks. Just zoom up, grab this edge here, hold Alt, drag it to, oops, mine didn't work there. Hold on a second. Alt, get it to this edge right here. Release. And now Insert Component, Browse, minute hand, same thing. Drop it in, Alt, drag it to that weight sleeve right there. And then you could assign it the time. I'll just go 3 o'clock around there. Okay, now we're going to get the lens in. The lens is tricky. insert component, browse. Grab the lens, hit open, drop that right there. Now, if you grab this edge right there, I'm just going to pre-select it and release it, and then hold Alt and drag it. And you want it to seat on this floor below the top edge. Probably number 3 missed item is 20 points off. A lot of students lock it into this top edge. It needs to go below that. So just be aware if you're looking at this, so you can see it's recessed underneath there. Otherwise, the lens would just fall off. There's nothing holding it in real life. Okay, so now I'm going to hit the space bar, go to isometric, and we can explode it. So go to explode view, select the lens, grab the Z, make sure just the Z lights up blue, drag it forward about 10 inches. Hit done. Click on the minute hand, grab the Z, drag it forward about 7 inches. Hit done. Grab the hour hand, drag it forward about 5.5 inches. Hit done. Now we're going to rotate around a little bit. We're going to click on all of these entities, including the bolts. So you might have to zoom up. And I'm just clicking. I'm not holding control. Now I'm going to go back, rotate a little bit back, and then I'm going to grab that Z. I just want the Z to light up. Drag that out about 5.5 or so. Hit done. Click on the 2 bolts. If you can get to that, you have to zoom up. Drag those up approximately 4. Hit done. And click on this bracket, drag that up about 2 or 1.5. Hit the green check mark. And now we could add the exploded line sketch. Select this face here, make sure the arrow is flipped. You may have to hit reverse here so it points towards the lens. Click on the lens, hit apply. Select this hole here, make sure the arrow is pointing up to this bolt. Hit apply, edge to edge of bolt, and apply. Hit the green check. So we have our exploded line sketch. Let's save this and hit save all, rebuild and save, and go ahead and name this the final. Hit save. Okay, let's go to File, Make Drawing from Assembly. Now ANSI Landscape, hit OK. You'll see it's a little smaller than the last one we had, so grab the front, drop it in, drag off the left, the bottom, and an isometric view. Click. Grab the isometric view now, drag it down here. You could shade it with edges, and also look at here, show an exploded state. Now, if it's not appearing the way you like it, hit this little arrow next to exploded view, and you'll see a whole list if you've made several mistakes or several views. And you just select the last one, and that's most likely the one you want. Okay, now we might want that a little bit larger, so use custom scale. And let's find 1 to 1.25, 1 to 4. Okay. Hit the green check. Now this one, click on this and go to Hidden Lines Visible. And now we're going to go ahead and section through. So select this, go to Drawing, Section View, get right in the center, click, hit the green check. Just hit OK and drop that to the right and hit the green check. Now go to Detail View and zoom up there and get this region right here. Click, drag up the Detail View. And now with the detail view, let's change it to a half scale. Hit the green check. Make sure that nothing's hovering next to it. Okay, now we could drop in the bill of materials. So select any view, doesn't really matter. And let's go to Annotations, Tables, and I'm going to use the Solidworks bill of materials. Hit the green check. Click right here to drop it in there. Now you'll see we've run out of space here. Let's get this down here, get that text. Make sure it looks good. All right, and now we have to add the balloons. So go click on this view, go to Auto Balloon, and it will automatically add the balloons. You can hit the green check, but what I'd like you to do is make sure they're not overlapping anything. You could add them individually. They actually do turn out nicer, I would say. Now, those of you who might work at a company where you want every bolt with that, you could just hold Control and drag this over and attach it. And if you don't like where these attachment points are, just grab them and attach them in different locations. If you drop on an edge, you get an arrow. If you drop on a face, you get a point. So make sure if you want all arrows, drop them all on edges. And that's not required at all companies. No company that I ever worked at needed that, but I've had students who work at companies who said that they had to know how to do that. So just be aware. Okay, like here, let's just verify that we have everything we need. Go back to the drawing and just double check it. So go down here. We have our bill of materials, our balloons, our exploded lines, our exploded view, the details. Don't worry about the scale because it auto-scaled it to 1/8, and I know it's tiny, but it's okay. I can still see what's going on from this view here. All right, just make sure you don't forget your name. And just go over here, click inside there, go to note, and drop the note in. And no initials, I actually want the full name. Hit the green check. All right, and at this point, and that's, I think that's a graphical glitch. I think that'll disappear soon, hopefully. Okay, oh, there it goes. Okay, it's gone. So to print this out, you just go to File, Print, and select your printer, and it should just go. Now, those of you who are working online, I would say Save As, and hit Yes to update, and you're going to save it as a PDF file, and then send that to me. Remember to save all your files, because in the event that I can't ascertain what's going on with something, I might ask you to send me your files, and then I can just double check things. But for the most part, this is all I need, is this drawing. And that concludes the midterm review, final exam review. Good luck.